We are looking at factoring and using the box and X method to help us figure out what our binomials are. And so we still have to follow the process in order to get to the box and X method. So if we're looking at this here, the first thing that we come to always is we're trying to find if we have any greatest common factors. And in this case, we do have one. We can factor a 2 out of all of the terms here. So if we divide by 2, the 2 comes outside of the parenthesis. 10 divided by 2, that's 5a squared. Negative 16 divided by 2 is negative 8. And negative 8 divided by 2 is negative 4. Oh, forgot my a there. So we have a new quadratic form there that will be a little bit easier to factor. The next thing, we want to make sure that the a value is positive, and it is. We have a positive 5, so we're all set there. Then the next step, if we want, we could try the sum and product, which is basically guess and check. But in this case, because the lead coefficient is 5, it's not going to be very easy to do. So I'm going to move on and I'm going to try the box and X method. So for the box and X method, we need just that. We need a box and an X. So we'll make the box. And then we need an X as well. Three of the boxes we're going to fill out without really doing anything. They're just always occupied by the same terms in the quadratic. So 5a squared goes in this first box here. Our constant term, or the negative 4, we got to take the sign with it. Negative 4 goes in the bottom sign, or in the bottom corner of the box. And negative 8x goes in the bottom space on the x. So those are all filled out automatically. The next ones we have to calculate. So what goes in the top box is 5a squared multiplied by negative 4. So 5a squared multiplied by negative 4, that fills the top space here. And in that case, it's going to be negative 20a squared. These two side boxes here have to multiply together to get to this top. So they have to multiply together to get up here. And then they have to add together to get to this term here. So it's kind of a guess and check process, but it's a little bit more limited down than what we would have to do if we were going to factor it right from there. So trying to multiply to negative 20. So right away I'm thinking 5 and 4. But it's got to be negative, so one of them has to be negative. And when they add together, it has to be negative. So the bigger one has to be negative. So negative 5 times 4 is equal to 20. Negative 20. And if we add these together, then that's going to be equal to negative 1. So that one does not work. The next one that we have to try, if we're thinking 20, is probably 10. So 10 and another number, let's say 2. All right, 10 and 2, and it has to be negative 20, and when they add together, it has to be negative at the end, so the bigger number has to be negative, so negative 10. So that is negative 20, and negative 10 plus 2 is negative 8. So that's what goes here. So we have negative 10 a and 2a. I see that I wrote an x there. That should be an a value. There's no x's in this. This is all the variables are a. So these two terms here, they fill these other two boxes that we haven't filled, these other two corners. So we'll put 2a here, and we'll put negative 10a here. So now we have to use our algebra tiles. So we have to have two numbers. One's going to go here and one's going to go here, and they have to multiply together to get to 5a squared. So the a squared part has to be a and a. That's the only way that we're going to get a squared. And then we have to come up with 5. What would get us 5? Well, the only two multiples, or the only numbers that we have, are 5 and 1. So this term over here is going to get multiplied to make this, and this term is going to get multiplied to make this corner of the box. So which, you have to ask yourself, 5, does 5 go easier into 2, or does 5 go easier into 10? So hopefully we realize that 5 goes either to 10, so the 5 has to go up there, and then that's just a 1. Okay, so we have a, and what value do we have to multiply by a to get to 2a? So that has to be a positive 2. So this up top is one of our binomials in the factored form. And then we're looking at filling this, or what we have to do to get to this box right here. We have a 5a. So 5a times what will get us to negative 10a? And that is negative 2. And then as a last check, we can say we have a 2 and a negative 2. Those multiply together, and those do give us negative 4. So that's a check that works for us. And now we can have our factored form in this case, which is going to be 5a plus 2, and then times a minus 2. And that is the factored form for this one.